you're doing well. Welcome back to another video in my new series, episode 3 of...
Yo, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want. Mamma mia, now I really know. Say to me, say la vie. And stop, never give me. Mama, don't breathe. I'm in love. Are you ready for it?
And from the title, you will already be knowing that this episode is dictated by the Queen of Pop herself, Madonna. I've wanted to do this video for a very, very long time, since I'd done my Taylor Swift pilot, I think 2 years ago, maybe. Madonna, it is Madonna, the Queen of Pop, the Queen of Reinvention, just trailblazing icon, diva. And yeah, I'm really excited to do this episode. I did want to film this as I've done my previous 2 Cat Burns and Elton John ones, where I pick the song and then say why I'm choosing the book for it, read the book, review it, and so on. But when I was reading them, I wasn't feeling the best and stuff. So I have actually read all the books now, and I'm just all gonna sit down and tell you about my reviews and the song that dictated it and how it fits and my thoughts and stuff on the book, and some other facts and things about certain songs and the legacy of Madonna. I chose specifically for June, for Pride Month, Happy Pride Month, because of how trailblazing and just on the right side of history she was, specifically during the 80s and 90s, and just how important she is to the queer community, and how in some ways we worked together, we built her up, and she used her platform to speak the truth about what was happening to so many queer people during that specific time and throughout her career. She's just so incredible, one of my favorite artists ever. I absolutely adore her. But I just wanted to quickly say, so I'm doing it all now. I did want to do it actually about a week or so ago, but the final book I chose was a bit longer than I had anticipated, not finishing it by the time I wanted to, and then I went on holiday. And then when I came back, the day after, I found out my nan passed away, and it's just sort of still there, very sudden. So I might not be the best in this video about talking through things, but I do want to get this done. I'm really happy about the books I read. I did really enjoy all of them. So yeah, first book and song was chosen is Like a Prayer by Madonna. Obviously, I don't keep saying that. And the reason it's done like this instead of my usual shuffle is because I was listening to ABBA or something at the time on my Google, and I didn't want to stop that to the song, because it would stop playing what I've already listened to. But anyway, Like a Prayer.
Oh, just like a prayer, your voice can take me there. Just like the muse to me, you are a mystery. Just like a dream, you are not what you see.
Incredible song about her relationship to her Catholic upbringing and the repressive nature of it, and sort of overcoming that. And I have a few sort of facts and stuff which I felt was really important. Is that it was released in 1989, and in the record of it, she had this little powder blue leaflet, and at the time politicians and everyone wouldn't say AIDS, they wouldn't say this disease and epidemic that was killing so many people, but she used her platform and her voice to go against the grain and say, I don't care what people think, I'm going to put this in my record, because people need to know this. And there's a little fact sheet which is on the screen now, that was in them, and it was just talking about safe sex, and something that people didn't talk about at the time. And a really important thing is that she says people with AIDS, regardless of their sexuality, deserve compassion and support, not violence and bigotry. And I just felt it was just, I needed to add that in, because it was just so pivotal and important to use her voice for right. But the book I chose was An Arab Melancholia by Abdel Attaya, which is translated from French by Frank Stock. The reason for the pairing, because they deal with sort of like religious trauma in a sense, and it's like repressive nature. Sort of like why I chose this book. And this is following sort of the author himself. Is a work of autofictional or autobiographical novel. And it starts with him sort of like as like a youngest teenager in Salah near Rabat in Morocco in the 1980s, so the correct time frame as well. And him sort of knowing he's gay, but not really like feeling he can really do anything because of the repressive nature of the culture he was in. Then his sort of like love for this Egyptian movie star and sort of wanting to create movies, and it follows him to Paris where he's doing this, and then also filming in Marrakesh and later in Cairo, and his like return to the Arab world, and his relationship to, I guess, his like birth religion of Islam and the Arab sort of world that he was part of, and then also his like different relationships with different men, and exploring this idea that he sort of feels he needs to just accept things, but isn't really what he wants. And yeah, I thought it was interesting. It's very interesting. It's very sparse as well. It's quite short, very short chapters, and I'm not really, I can't really show much. I was going to underline things, but I didn't. I think I enjoyed it. I gave this 3.75 stars. I was thinking as expected a bit more. I think at times it's hard to fully know what's happening, and maybe it just goes a bit too quick, and you sort of want to linger on a few things to truly get to grips with what he's trying to say in the book. Also like the place of women in the Arab world, when he's talking about the like filming and stuff. And his sort of like rejection of God in some sense, and then when he was in a certain relationship with a man called Salame, and these really nice sort of like letters that are part of some of it. Like it uses some different like methods of telling the story and stuff, but like here's some like letters towards the end, and how it was quite like submissive and was made to fit this sort of like typical Arab woman sort of role, and it's not what he wanted as a gay man or still as a man. So that was done well, and it was sort of like quite interesting, and some of the like falsifications in some sense of some characters or people, that they have these sort of certain like Islam ideas and beliefs of how to treat people, but then they act differently, and how that comes across specifically, like I guess with him being gay. But yeah, I thought it was really quite pivotal and definitely important, but I found it a little bit too sparse to fully love it, in all honesty. But yeah, I read that for like a prayer. Then the next song was Inside of Me.
I'll always have you inside of me, even though you're gone, left still carries on. Love.
This is a sort of one that's deeply personal to Madonna's mother, that she lost when she was young, and about this idea that she would always be inside of her and part of her, and eulogizing her in a sense. And the book that I chose to match up thematically with it was Just Kids by Patti Smith, because this starts as sort of like a love story, or this deep friendship between the author Patti Smith and her soulmate, friend for life, Robert Mapplethorpe, in sort of like late 60s New York, and it ends as an elegy to him because in 1989 he did die of age-related illnesses. So I thought this was a really important book because it's so much about their relationship and him sort of being so pivotal and important to her and living inside of her in a sense, like the song's title and meaning. So I thought this was a good match-up, and yeah, I did really enjoy this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. Quite a lot is underlined, quite a lot is starred as well, sort of things. It's like it's throughout like different bits, holding them as sort of, you know, like late teens when they meet in New York, very poor, struggling, these two artists that just want to create and have all these different inspirations but not really the finances to do so, and the struggles they have, sort of like sharing a hot dog, and a really pivotal part which comes full circle at the end is when they can only afford one admission ticket to the Whitney Museum, I think it is in New York. So Patty goes in and looks around and stuff, and she sees Robert smoking outside. I think she takes a photo of him, or just like remembers that. And then right at the end, his sort of like memorial service was at the Whitney Museum. And I think they were displaying some of his photographs, and she sung a song or like performed a poem, and just sort of like that full circle notion was just very moving. But yeah, so it just follows their struggle and then advances into fame and finding their true passions, with Patty with sort of like poetry and the rock scene, and Robert moving into like photography, and his exploration of his sort of like sexual identity, sort of like trying to hide things but then not really accepting himself, and then later on doing so, and how it came through in his work, and yeah, it's so New York. It paints the picture amazingly. It's really done so well, and you really get a sense of the landscape and the people and just like where they're going and the whole scene. I think it's done amazingly. However, maybe it is a little bit too name droppy. Like, it's just constant, like all these people I met, all these people I walked past or saw in a restaurant or saw at this gig and reading or whatever. Like, it's just so many names. It does get quite samey, but I think as it goes along, just exploring their relationship, I think it's just really amazing. Yeah, there's like some photos as well, sort of like interspersed, and sort of like Polaroids and pieces of art that they produced, and stuff like that, which I've really enjoyed. It's very well written, just a little bit samey in terms of the names, but yeah, I thought it was a good pick, and I did definitely enjoy it. I would so recommend this, yeah, I think it's quite also personal, I guess, with the Madonna one being in this video because of her losing her best friend or like roommate, what was his name, sorry, Martin Burgoyne, to the AIDS crisis in the 80s, 90s, and her first dance teacher, Christopher Flynn, and some other friends and acquaintances that she had for her life. So I thought it was very good, in a sort of like collective grief of so many people we lost. And then the next song is Live to Tell.
I'll learn my lesson well. Hope I live to tell the secret I have learned till then. Cold, the secret that I hide. Will I grow?
Recent celebration tour. I think it was a couple of years ago, but I'm not 100% sure. When she sung "Live to Tell," it starts with like the end of Holiday. A dancer sort of collapses, and it signifies the death of so many people. And then she puts a trench coat over them and is lifted up, and then these screens throughout the sort of arena, and they're displaying the photos of so many people that did die during the epidemic, and her just sort of signifying her sort of commitment to working with queer people and people that died, and how it's so sort of pivotal and important, and it could have been seen as career suicide, sorry, because people weren't talking about it, but she was just like, well, it's happening and I'm going to be on the right side of history. I'm going to stand up for my friends and everyone. She held sort of like benefit concerts and raised money for people suffering during the time. She had sort of like charity dance-a-thons and sort of appeared at different events. She went on the front lines, went to hospitals, shook hands with patients when even the nurses and doctors were scared to do so. And she really just shouted the truth and used her platform to, you know, spark conversations and, you know, say things as it is. And I think it's really just so commendable. Yeah, that's a little note. But the song "Live to Tell" is about like hiding a secret or knowing a secret, and there's a certain sort of like song lyric which I'll just put on the screen, and how it's sort of like eats you up, I guess, but like just trying to push through and like live to tell it. And the book that I chose is maybe a bit of a leap, but I remember when I was reading them, I sort of wanted something a bit funner, and a bit of a nicer read, considering two quite heavy ones and then later two quite heavy ones, so it's sort of like a little fun-ish sandwich in the middle. But the book I chose was Encore by Miles Chirico Burks. I was gifted this by the publisher Electric Monkey as like a post-production copy. I think it actually's only really recently come out, so thank you, Electric Monkey. I wasn't asked to give a review, I think it was asked if I wanted one, but I'm doing so. And this is a graphic novel. It's following these two teen boys. Clayton, who is a trans male, like theatre nerd kind of. That's sort of his passion. And I can't remember. Aaron, who is sort of like on the swim team, quite like jockey-fied. And the reason I chose it is because from the back they have sort of like a past, and sort of like they were best friends, but then they sort of moved away and they're forced to reconnect in like the theatre class that they're sort of doing, and sort of like these scene parties and stuff, and how they're sort of like hiding things, I guess, from how they sort of fell apart. But then also it's more when you read it, but some of the characters hiding their true selves in a sense, and sort of how to come away from that. But yeah, that's sort of the story. They're being scene partners, and I think it's like really well drawn. You really get a good sense of the characters and their like facial expressions and stuff. It's just done so well. It's really nice, like full color, lovely to read. And these really nice sort of like flashback scenes as well to them in like kindergarten, and Clayton sort of like trans growing up. It's not that much about that part of his life, but you do get the sense of, you know, some like dysmorphia and hiding away in shyness that he experiences by not really, his body not fitting who he is. And there's a really nice sort of cast of queer characters with their friends, which I felt was just done so well. It's so like lovely to see, just so much representation now. It's really lovely. I'm so happy that you know, the intended audience of YA can pick up books and see themselves represented. So yeah, I don't have too much else to say. I also recommend this. Oh, this book I gave, if we can find it, 4.5. Yeah, 4.5 stars. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would so recommend. I'll definitely check out the author again. They gave me a little key ring, and if you read the book, it's so sweet. When I sort of made a connection, I was like, that's so cute. You know, a dolphin key ring in the sort of like package. So yeah, yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say. Sorry, I feel like I'm doing the best. My brain isn't really that in sync at the moment, but yeah, I would so recommend that. It was really nice. Did it fit the prompt that well? Not specifically, but we move, and I feel like you can in some ways. I feel like it's good to mix it up a bit. Then the next song we have is Papa Don't Preach.
Papa don't preach, I've been told it. Papa don't preach, I've been losing sleep. But I made up my mind, I'm keeping my baby. I'm gonna keep my baby.
I think this is probably my favourite Madonna song. I love Papa Don't Preach. The whole like True Blue era, that's my favourite sort of album. Just so many bangers. Papa Don't Preach, True Blue, La Isla Bonita, I can't remember now, but I love this song. It is about a woman falls pregnant, and sort of it's telling her, like, sort of, I guess, religious and sort of strictish father that I'm keeping my baby. I don't care what society says about young mothers. This is who I am. She's just always trailblazing and just so modern, and just oh, I just love her. Love Madonna so much. But yeah, just saying that I don't care what society says. This is what I'm doing with my life, and don't try and preach to me. Don't try and change my attitudes, because it's not going to work. And I think a very good matchup was one that I've wanted to read ever since I finished the first part of her autobiography last year and gave it 5 stars, is Gather Together in My Name by Maya Angelou. This is the second part of her autobiographical series. Can't really talk. And this is following her when she's 17, a young mother, single mother to her baby son, going about life as sort of still a teenager and a child in some ways, with a young child, and sort of saying, I'm not gonna leave my son with my mom and stuff, because, well, she sent her away, not sent her away per se, but like her and her older brother Bailey went to Stamps in Arkansas to spend time with her father's mother. Oh, I loved her so much. Such an amazing character in the first book. But yeah, so she doesn't want to leave her son with the mum or like her other family and stuff. She wants to, you know, provide and care for him. And it follows her with like these sort of dead-end jobs and trying to make things work, but things are just difficult, and like just like life is just getting in the way. Her, like, I think it just does a good job here, really, a young mother in California, unemployed, embarking on brief affairs and transient jobs in shops and nightclubs, and then turn into prostitution and the world of narcotics. And sort of, it's quite messy, it's quite deep, it's quite hard to read at times, sort of like what she goes through. But yeah, I did enjoy this. I gave it 3.75 stars. I did like underline a few things and stuff, which I am sort of glad I did, because it means I can come back to. There's a lot less starred in this than there was in I Know Where the Caged Bird Sings. A lot less underlined as well, to be honest. I think that book was just exceptional. I think the main reason I didn't fully love this one as much is because in some ways it is a positive and sort of the reason why it was written, but it's written sort of from a 17-year-old turning to 18, I think, as the book goes along, maybe even 19 actually, as well. I can't really remember, perspective and that sort of outlook, and it's very fast and I guess transient, and it's just sort of like moving from one thing to the next, and a little bit sort of like a frenetic, chaotic sort of diary sort of thing, and much less time is given to the reader to sit with the characters and have this deep connections that you got in Caged Bird that were just done so exquisitely, and I just didn't feel as connected. I feel like it's more focused on this specific time of her life and sort of what she's going, but it's less detailed, yeah, I just felt it was a little chaotic, but that was how her life was, and it's quite disconnected, but that also is how she was herself, not really connecting as much with people because of the trauma she experienced, I guess, as well. But yeah, I would definitely still recommend it. I'm gonna continue reading Maya Angelou. I think she's just exceptional, one of my favourite people ever that have ever walked the earth. I mean, she's just so just important, and I love her. But I didn't love this, but still, I'm glad I read it. I did think it was a good match for the song. And then finally, for this video, I didn't really know how many ones to do and stuff, but I ended up doing 5 books. We have Human Nature.
It's human nature.
Would it sound better if I were a man?
And I'm not sorry.
You're the one with the problem.
I'm not your bitch. Don't hang your shit on me.
And this is about sort of like the media and sort of journalists and stuff, sort of like trying to pin her back and say like you should be so and so and things like that. But she's just like, I think the quote is like, express yourself, don't repress yourself, and just sort of like the defiance of herself and just being like, I don't care what you say, I don't care. It's my life, I'm gonna do what I want. And the book that I chose, I think it does kind of fit because it's about like the defiance of women and you know, the power, I guess, in some sense. The Night Alphabet by Gerald Taylor. If you, well, I doubt probably many people would know, but all the books I did read were, well, apart from Encore, were from my 26 in 2026 A to Z challenge books, because I wanted specifically to read books that I thought I was gonna like love and like my 5-star predictions. I didn't get any 5 stars, but still I think it's a very, very good matchup, like the books I read and the ratings I gave. This I gave 4.5 as well. And yeah, this I sort of chose because it's following a woman called Jonas in 2233, the year in the future, in Hackney, and she goes into this tattoo parlor and she has all these different tattoos, and she's like, I want to have a line connecting all of them together. And then that's sort of what happens, and with each tattoo she tells a story of these rememberings, and the book uses this sort of like transmigratory narration. I can't remember. It's like bystander in my own body is like a quote from the book, and each tattoo was like done for like a remembering, because sort of like the female line of hers has this ability to sort of go into a different person's body or experience throughout time, like some are in the past, some are in the future, some are female, some are male, and that is sort of the idea. And then she has these tattoos to sort of like close the door on them, so I don't go back and sort of have that remembering sort of like all over her body. And all the tattoos, well, like nearly all the stories, I guess, associated with the tattoos are about like things that are done to women and about women, and it's very sort of poignant, a lot of things, and yeah, there's so many quotes in here. Like I really like went ham and sort of like underlined and starred a lot in this book. Some are a bit messy. This is one that I wanted to finish before I went on holiday with my mum, but I didn't really have time, and I was reading some on the train, and that's why some of my underlines are very squiggly, but then when I got home I finished it like a few days ago. But yeah, there's definitely a lot, but they're about these sort of women's stories about sort of like defiance and quite political, yeah, I think this is really good. It's a deep and bold investigation into violence, resilience, and women's stories. It's very like female focused, but at the same time there is some other perspectives, and yeah, it just there's a lot to say about this book, really a lot. I think it is quite a good matchup about it, sort of like human nature and sort of the resiliences. But it's very, very bleak. I would say definitely check the trigger warning. There is a lot in here. Some are disgusting, really, really disgusting. But I'm definitely glad I read it. I did enjoy it for the most part. Definitely a lot to take away. It definitely does read quite quickly, even though it's like 420 pages or something, 417. It does read quite quickly, to be honest. And yeah, you definitely learn a lot. So yeah, and it sort of like has the different ways of telling the story as well, and just a lot of things about sort of like toxic masculinity and sort of like the culture, and yeah, just like things done to women and stuff. But yeah, I don't really know. I probably have so much more to say, but that's all I'm going to say for that. Yeah, 4.5 would so recommend. I think this is a good video. Well, like the books I read, I would recommend all of them. Like they're all very good books. I think my favourite from pure enjoyment was Encore. For the like lyricalism and sort of the most well written, just kids, sort of what I learned maybe, and sort of impactful wise, the Night Alphabet, all them 4.5 stars, really, really good. And both of these were 3.75, still very good, honestly. I think this year I'm trying to have like at least an average of 3.8 for each month. But yeah, they definitely have their merits, but then also a few drawbacks of why I didn't fully love or connect to them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry I didn't really do it all as I kind of wanted to do. I hope you learned a few more things about my love for Madonna and how much I respect her for, you know, what she had done with her career when so many other people didn't really speak out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more Diva Dictate episodes to come. Not too sure what I'm doing next, but hopefully it'll be fun. Yeah, I'll have a little holiday vlog coming as well soon. So yeah, hope this wasn't too long. I think it probably is, but yeah. Enjoy the rest of your morning, even like wherever you are in the world. And I shall see you soon. Bye.